Well, hello, April.
Hi, there's Donna.
Here we go. You guys are starting to come on good. I was wondering where everybody was. Hello, Debbie, Kimra. Hello. Hi, Carlotta. Donna, hi. Lori Young, it's always great to see you. Who else is joining us today? Hi, Tara.
Hi, John.
Renee, hello. Oh my God, send you a huge hug, Renee. Let me wait a couple more minutes, see who else is logging on. Linda Stroud, welcome. Wait another minute. I feel a couple more people hopping on. Um, hmm. Renee, I just freaking love you. Thank you for who you be. It's amazing. All right. No video tonight, Linda. Okay. Well, it's good to feel you on here. Thanks for being on. Um, so question for y'all. And I've asked this before, but I want to ask again. Or maybe I haven't asked it here. I don't know. I forget sometimes. If you didn't know who you are, who would you be? If you didn't know who you are, who would you be? If you have been giving a blank slate, what would you want to create in your life? How would you want to express the essence of you? Nobody. Now you're taking me to Game of Thrones. That's just a whole nother conversation. Um, but you cannot be nobody because the essence of who you be is everything. So there's no way that you'll cease to exist. Like if you came into this life and in this cycle, as we sit here today, you accomplished everything that you were here to do. Like your soul mission, your soul purpose, that's whatever that is, if that's complete, now what? What's next for you? What do you choose to create? The burden of responsibility has been lifted. Nobody needs you, is relying on you, needs to be saved by you. It's not your job to end anybody's suffering, to show them where the light exists, to demonstrate to them that love is real. You no longer need to claim your divine inheritance. You no longer need to heal the ancestral lineage. Nothing. You have fulfilled what you came here to do. And so many of us have been in this existence in a circle of life. And that's great. But y'all have walked that circle, that path so many times that in this lifetime, you're not circling back. You're spiraling and taking your accumulated experiences, your qualified energy, and you're spiraling and using that wisdom to create something anew. If the bridge for you to go back to where you came from has collapsed, where are you heading? And why do you want to go there? And if you say, I don't know where I want to go, just realize that that's exactly where you are. I don't know. How do you want to feel where you're going? Do you want to feel like you don't know? Do you want to be stuck in the circular abyss of not choosing because you're choosing not to choose? Or do we want to amplify that knowing with something that you already know that you can't help but to carry forward because of your experiences, because of the accumulation, or wherever you have been in the dark and in the light? And know what you want to and choose to invest into. Where if the destination isn't a destination, or rather a feeling that creates the foundation for the destination? What if you go down into the root of the essence of who you be and excavate what it is that you know that you want to experience? Anyone want to type into the chat box and share some of the things that they know they want to experience? Please. Joy. It would be, it would just be the joy of expansion. Yes. April leaving the call because she hasn't fulfilled her dharma or her karma yet. It's all right, April. We'll show you the way home. Linda, I want to explore the remembrance that's coming through as I explore parts of my soul, whether that is emotion or just the experience, or just experience the energy bliss, love versus fear. I am a divine being, being divine. And what does a divine being, being divine, feel? Absolute freedom. Freedom, joy, love. In general, what if love and fear have no separation?
Do you want me
Where
to
this
answer
thing
that?
that I have to
Sorry.
choose either this or that. Don't answer it yet, Jen. Um, we'll get into it in a little bit. Where there doesn't have to be an either or, but there's not something to war against. to struggle with. That the only true contraction is that what we feel and because we don't know yet. And sure, that uncertainty can create what we would call fear. But what if fear was just a contraction that is birthing a different experience out of the I don't know? What is fear is the experience that's the catalyst out of the I don't know, rather than what keeps you frozen in the I don't know. What's possible if you choose to embrace all that you be? Would you be worried about what your next living situation is going to be? Or who's going to show up for me in a particular way? Would you be so worried about how alone you might feel? Would there be a contemplation that causes anguish because I'm not feeling my full potential? I know that there's something more and I don't know how to get it. What if you can just breathe into the certainty of who you know that you be right here, right now, in its highest essence, in the highest form? Because I can guarantee you that in different phases, and some phases are longer than others, y'all, that the bigness of who you be is the majority that's running the show. But it's those little nodals of doubt, or I don't know, there's something I'm getting wrong. There's something else I have to learn. There's something I haven't accumulated yet. There's something that has to let go. There's something that if I only get that, I can be who I am supposed to be. If I get that, I can release the fear, the anxiety, that I'm not enough, the tiredness. If I get that one thing, then everything else will be okay. And how long have you all been chasing that one thing? If only this shows up, then I'll finally be happy. Then I can relax. Then I'll be successful. Then I can feel at peace. Then I'll feel safe. Just that one thing. And the one thing shows up and it's not it. It never is. Because you're thinking that splinter in this big field that you are has the authority to run how you author your life. What are y'all afraid of? Really, what are you afraid of? Anyone run to write whatever their fear is? Judgment, losing control. Ah, that control thing for you, Lori. I love that. Not being enough. Lori, have you lost control ever? Yeah, you're still here. April, not being enough. How many times have you felt like not being enough? Like that has been true for you. You probably glimpse it every once in a while. And here you are. Judgment. How many times have you felt judged, Joe? And here you are still breathing and existing and showing up for more. So, April, I challenge you to step into owning being more than enough and allowing that to be the nexus point where you create from. Gloria, I would invite you to be at peace and allow the peacefulness to guide you to wherever it wants to guide you, and to give her permission to lose control, whatever it feels it has to. Knowing that peace always knows how to find her way back home. I'm curious for you, Lori, what would losing control mean? That people see for who you are, that maybe you're considered a hideous monster because you lose control, or that things like the floor is going to collapse on you and you're going to go down this spiral that you'll never come out of. Um, the losing control and being in the spiral. Okay. So I invite you to fall into the abyss with me and let it kill us if it's going to lose control. Because aren't you tired of fighting that free fall? Yeah. And maybe that abysmal feeling is taking you into the luminosity that you are, that feels too much to take in all at once. How can I be so much? Let me give of myself in sips for others to receive, because if I gave them all of me, they may not be able to receive me. Let me control my love, because I don't know what to do with all this that I have inside of me. What if you can just surrender to all of you, bursting without any plan of where it's supposed to land? What would that create in your life? And what would you be afraid of losing if that were to happen? Hurting others. Your biggest fear is hurting others. That's a deeper one for me with you, Jen. How would it resonate? Type it in. Let's not get in conversation yet, but type it in for me. How does it resonate? The fear of being with the darkness of who I am. The fear of seeing those parts of me that I want to hide from others. The fear of owning that power in a way that it's misunderstood and misconstrued. And Joe in judgment. Really owning who you be without trying to mitigate how others receive it. Expressing your authentic self beyond the safe spaces, but doing it from the seat of your heart, beyond the mind, beyond acclimating to another for the sake of being received, but only to express it because you can't help but to allow it to pour out. Where are you judging yourself, Joseph? Where have you lost yourself, Lori? Where have you chosen not to be enough for yourself, April? Where are you hurting yourself, Jen? And you don't have to keep running in circles where you're spiraling through lifetimes in this one incarnation. Let go of the interpretation of soul cycles in the way that you've known them in previous lives. We're creating from a new grid system, from a new energetic standpoint. Whatever limitations are subconscious or unconscious because of how you may have experienced the retribution of this karma in previous cycles no longer exist if you choose to spiral in what's available now. Elevate up instead of the repetitive cycles that have had you in an imprisonment of your own mind's making. You hold the keys to the shackles. The slate's been wiped clean. Choose it. Choose what you're desiring to feel in your experience without fearing the splinter that's been running the show, or using that splinter as the excuse of why you can't move forward. Allow that shadow to be the teacher that brings in the illumination that's ready to set you free. You can walk around and avoid the splinter as long as you want. But until you're ready to let out of the cage and to set it free, the liberation that you seek the expansion that you know and feel inherently is possible, will never be released. No matter what, that part of you gets to come home to you. And there's different ways of being with it. But it's beautiful to have the awareness that you get to choose, that you want to elevate it. And then your choice, the alignment for the enlightenment that is being engendered will appear. You just have to trust that within yourself. Nobody can take that journey for you. Nobody can heal it in the place of your healing it. Someone might show up to demonstrate to you how that healing can take place. But you're the healer in that circumstance. And then determine what's your why. Why would you choose to elevate the consciousness of not being enough, of losing control, of judgment, of hurting others? What's your why? Jen, what's your why? And if you want to meet yourself now, it'd be great.
Okay, wasn't sure. What's my why I don't want to hurt others? And I was just trying to come up with something of what I fear. For example, you know, having an accident and causing the death of someone. I mean, why would I ever want to do that? And that's kind of where I'm going at. But I understand what you're saying is how am I hurting myself? I mean, there's a wide window of here of hurting others. So that's kind of where I was going with it.
Okay. But it still came up. So why do you choose to be in the consciousness that that might be possible in your life?
No, I was just thinking worst case scenarios. What am I what fear is out there that I have no control over?
Okay, so best case scenarios, what are you afraid of?
That I have to pass through that somehow to be able to
That's the best
arrive.
case. That's not the best case scenario. Come on.
The best case scenario of why I don't want to hurt others.
What's the best case scenario of receiving the opposite of that? What's the best case scenario of you being so open and loving and that there's no way that you could really hurt someone else?
That I let go of guilt or shame that I've grown up with from the family.
Best case scenario. And I would say that's baseline best case scenario. I would say the best case scenario is that you're truly free, that you're truly emancipated from any obligations of how you have known yourself to be, and that that freedom is just as equally as scary as the scenario of the worst case scenario of hurting someone else.
Well, that to me, I can't imagine that being free in that way. So that's why I'm having a little hard time figuring out how that's a best case scenario. Because if I
Okay.
were free from any responsibility of what happened, to someone else, then I wouldn't be conscious of their connection or respectful of who they are as a person.
I disagree. I think you'd be so connected to someone in that freedom that you couldn't begin to tell where they end and you begin.
That's another possibility. It's hard for
Yeah.
me to imagine, though. Maybe another example.
In that most enlightened state,
Hmm.
if we're walking around in that place of complete freedom, like really complete freedom, it sounds sexy and expansive and generous and exhilarating. But the depth, the DEATH of our identity and how we
Hmm.
know ourselves
Okay, I gotcha.
can be one of the scariest things, if not the scariest thing that any of us can experience. That's why so many of us have such an unconscious and maybe conscious fear of dying. And a lot of people say, oh, I'm not afraid of dying anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we think that we know where we're going or what we're going to become. And we have romanticized it and have applied very basic principles to the possibility. But the disintegrating into something where you don't know who you are anymore, but having the awareness that you don't know who you are anymore and what that means. And this is a deep discussion. And feeling into this, but again, I'm going into best case scenario of the opposite end of the freedom. So to ground it more back in, and you took it into, okay, if I hurt someone and I was going to be the cause of that, then oh my God, that would be worst case scenario. That's a fear that you have. Do you have a fear of not being enough for your husband?
No, because we're on this journey together and we learn from each other and we're
Okay.
always trying to improve. And of course, I have a fear of death of what's going to happen when my husband passes. Hopefully it'll be me first. I have to deal with it, but I have a fear of that with my father passing too.
Mhm.
So,
Do
but
you have a
that's out
fear?
of my control, right?
Right, right.
And I can
Well,
choose love or fear.
yeah, all those things are out of our control. Even the fears that we have are in some sense out of our control until we choose to have a different relationship with them. Give me another fear that you have that maybe isn't so overarching. Like get vulnerable with yourself. If you choose to, you don't have to. If you rather not, then just let me know. That's of course very much
Mhm.
respected. But if you were to get vulnerable and tap into your ego and tap into little Jen, and feel something that might really be alive for you, what would that be?
That people don't see me for who I am.
Okay. And what happens if people don't see you for who you are?
It doesn't matter because I choose love and not fear. And so
But
that's kind of my mantra now. My method is to, when I start feeling that, I choose love.
yeah, but is there a part of you that triggers, I'm not a priority, I'm not seen, I'm not good enough, people just don't get me, I'll be alone, any of those?
Well, I like to think all of us are completely unique and no one can see anyone else for who they are. And that's the story I'm telling myself to keep me from being in the lack. In other words, I'm choosing to love the lack and giving space to that because I believe that space is grace now. So those are kind of my
Space is definitely grace.
yeah. So that's kind of what I've been driving myself towards. I mean, all of that is there, yes, but I have control over how I react to something. I have
Why would
control
you?
over being aware that I'm reacting.
uh, are you having control because you're trying to counterbalance it, or are you providing that part that's triggered, um, an alternative because you're listening to it and you're demonstrating to it what else is possible?
I'm sorry, my dog is like attacking me. What was your question again?
Are you choosing to give that emotion or that alchemy that's coming up, if you will, um, a counterbalance so that you can control it so that you don't have to feel it? Or are you choosing to provide that energy that might be arising, um, with a perspective so that it integrate with you? In other words, are you choosing to overpower it with a flood of energy so that you don't have to be with that?
No, I feel what I'm going through and how I react to that feeling is where I get to choose. I get to
Mhm.
choose to be aware of these feelings are coming up. This is horrible. I hate this. And say, okay, I'm going to choose love for the lack or for whatever reason, because going to those low places, it doesn't serve me.
Mm.
And that's kind of what I've learned is I am a highly emotional person, but I can control letting those emotions take over everything as opposed to being in balance with how I feel, what my higher self is understanding, and what my little girl is reacting to.
This is great, and I think you're doing a great job of it. So it's I'm just digging in to get more into your why as
I can
well,
cry at a
because
drop
we
of a
can
hat,
amplify it.
honey.
Yeah, I know, I've seen it. We have witnessed it, and it's beautiful.
Not
Um,
really.
it
It's
actually
really not.
is.
It's horrible. I hate
It's
crying.
it's beautiful until it becomes self-indulgent, and then it becomes beautiful again because we realize it. So it's there's different ways to navigate it. And again, I've seen you go through different parts of it, and it really has been beautiful. And I love how you're sitting in that energy now. I can see a dramatic shift from years ago and to today. So it's really wonderful to experience you in this. And I'm going to take it deeper just for the sake of the group, for all of us here. Why are you choosing to control it?
I wouldn't say control. I'm
Well, I'm using
choosing
your
to
words.
see it.
You said control, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Oh, did you hang up, Jen? Dang it. Okay, Jen will come back. I'll wait for her to come back and continue that thread because we're landing on something here that's really foundational. It really goes in because I want to get into this part again where the slate is being wiped clean, y'all, for how we're holding things and why we're holding things into new creations. I want to put on an invitation for everybody on this call, listening to the replay as well. As the pillars of light that you are, really seeing yourself in the potency, in the clarity of your love, in service to what you wish to experience, and in your love for others to receive the contribution of your experience. Again, the expansion of your divinity within, and your openness to receive more of it. That as we're navigating the collective energies here in the US that are coming through, where there's divisiveness, where there's separation, whether this is better than that, where there's if one outcome happens, it's against the will of the other outcome that has its own agenda in mind of how it believes that it can serve or desires to be served. I want to invite each and every one of you on the call, starting now, and for the rest of this week, to anchor in your light as a stable field of unity consciousness, amplifying the light, the love, the authority of the divine, to help to stabilize anyone who may be out of balance in an energy that is not theirs, that is misaligned with their truth. Because for some reason, they don't quite know how to navigate it in a way that they can. So that you provide a stability in the field. You become a nodal point on a grid that others can sense and find stability in because of the overflow in which you bring in. Know that you're giving from your overflow. Know that as you feel collective shifts in energies, that you're balancing your energy so that your direct correlation with anything that's coming through comes from your own divinity. And then that feeds into what's possible as we hold space for one another, aligning with the divine truth that lives in each and every individual that inhabits this earth. Letting go of judgments and how you believe things are supposed to be. And allow the light to be the revealer of truth rather than anything that we've been indoctrinated into believing. This is you holding your pillar and foundation and exerting your light. Because you can. This goes in balance of what I was speaking about earlier. It's if we're choosing to focus on the splinter, isn't that what we're creating in the nodal points around the earth in our community? Not that you don't bring your light. Yes, of course you do, everywhere you go. But if you're a major league pitcher who can throw a 90-mile-an-hour curveball, why would you hold that back? Y'all came to play in the big leagues. You came here during this time because you knew it was time to amplify the full capacity of who you be. And sometimes that comes across as hurting others or judging others or being judged or going through waves of I'm not enough so that I can remember who I truly am. Then bring it on. Bring it on. I know who I am. I know who walks next to me. I know that me and God are a majority everywhere I go. And it's time, you all, to experience the glory that you be by exerting your light with intentionality and allowing the flow of your own love to overwhelm you. You want you can't expect others to hand it to you in a silver plate. That overflow of love. But when you allow it to flow through you, you will not be able to hold back the wave of that overflowing love that will come to you in waves that will seem unbearable to contain. And I think that's our biggest fear. That we may not be able to breathe, that we'll be drowned in so much love that we will know what to do with it. I promise you, you'll be given as much as you can handle. I invite you that wherever you think your limit of receptivity is, that if you don't think that you can run that last mile in the marathon, to push because you can. It's in you. It's mind over matter in this case. It's heart over the judgment. Be willing to stretch yourself beyond the bounds that you believe is possible of the light and love that you give and that what you're capable of receiving. It's time to receive the glory of who you be. And you know when you've gotten there, when you can hold compassion for those who don't see themselves in the glory that they can be. And love them as much as you're loving yourself. Feel the potential in them that's equal to the potential that you feel within yourself. Feel the love and grace that you would wish onto your newborn child for the world that might be available to them as they mature and grow and expand and learn. Plant the seeds of what you are wanting to foster and blossom in your reality, and rejoice as you watch them blossom. Be willing to feel the enormity of your energy with every breath that you take. And as you inhale, allow it to come to you, to envelop you like an extra layer of skin that lights up every cell of your being and hugs you in attunement to that vibrational accord. And as you exhale, allow the unraveling, the unfoldment of that energy to expand as wide as it wishes to go, to fill every nook and cranny of your cellular being, your energetic being, to go into every crack and crevice I may have forgotten that it is also the light. Allow your light quotient to heal any place within that is ready to be healed. And to be an example to others energetically of how safe, of how loving, or how receptive these healing energies are to all parts of every human being, no matter how dark they may believe themselves to be. Nice, Joe. Good. Dance with it. Yes. Joe says I'll be moving around a lot to do that. Amazing. Dancing is an amazing way to feel that light. Toning or singing or light languaging. Sounds and hums, groans, whatever, to move that energy, to help find those places are wonderful. And even again, noticing your own breath. Just hearing the sound of your inhale and exhale. Being present, allowing your sensual experience to guide and fill you. It's an opportunity to experience this gift of being in human form. We're embodying a new earth. We're going from the awareness and even the energetic outreach of walking in 5D and creating in a 5D reality, the new earth that we've been speaking about for over a decade, if not longer, at least on my platforms. And the physical body is ready to catch up and join the rest of us in that creation. Your thoughts and your action, your telepathy, your psychic connection to others is probably the most powerful it has ever been. Be aware and conscious of where you're choosing to create, why you're choosing to create what you're choosing to create, and tune in. If it's coming from the fear of ego, I'm afraid I'm going to lose control and I'm going to create this and limitation. Or is it coming from, I'm letting go of the ways that I've pulled the reins of what's possible in my life? And I'm going to loosen up those reins more than I ever have before. And trust that everything that I need up to now is within me. Let me choose to create from there. Let me choose to focus my light rather than spotlighting out. I talked about this last week. Searching for the thing that will bring me what I'm hoping to receive. Safety, acceptance, companionship, community, connection to others or to my spirits or guides or to the divine. Resources so that I can feel safe in my own container. Searching, 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 searching. And focus that light from your three primary chakras, the root, the base, and your solar plexus. Focus that light inward. Focus that light back into you and allow that light to fill the nooks and crannies of where you've been searching outside of yourself. And know yourself in you. Trust yourself. The root chakra energy, again, some say it's been shut down for a lot of people in the spiritual community. It's the last one to catch up. People are from the heart up. I would tell you that your root chakra has held with immense power the light of faith that has you continuing searching. I would tell you it's been the most activated one of your chakras in human form because it takes the amplification of that to go to some of the places that you all have navigated. Even when you believe that you've lost hope and faith, that ember's been burning. That power center within you has held it. Has been a warrior for that light within you. And it's ready to be put into action. It's ready to come alive in new ways. As much as you've amplified it, what else is it revitalizing within you? How are you going to choose to interact with it? What are you wanting to create and why? We have survived through a lot for all of us to be here now. Yeah, we have. In so many different ways. And the survival of the worst case scenarios of our mind, even in the worst case physical scenarios that we've been, that hell that we have put ourselves through is ready for reinterpretation. The slate is being wiped clean. hold the amplification of your light to allow new waves of creativity, of imagination to guide your creations. If you've been to hell already, so what if you go back? You know the terrain. There's nothing to fear. And maybe if you do happen to go back there, you'll get to know exactly who you've become. How amazing is that? Yeah, I don't think you have to go there, Tara. But if you did, cakewalk. Seriously, because you know the light that you bring. You know the courage that you have. You know that your worst fear that your light would be extinguished isn't going to happen. It doesn't have that power over you any longer, if it ever did. But the fear of it had a lot of control over us, manipulated our actions and our decisions, informed us as to what relationships we could or couldn't have, whether with our health or with another, or with our finances, or with spirit. It's time to create anew. Welcome to darkness. Welcome those teachers from the density, if they want to show up. Don't try to control them out of existence. They'll just regroup and come back stronger. Nah, be with them. Sit them down at the dinner table. Invite them to a meal. Let them show you exactly who they are. And you show to them exactly who you are. Unless you rather diminish who you are. Unless you'd rather shut down yourself so that they can feel received and heard and accepted and acknowledged. If you prefer to deny yourself to give the illusion life, just be aware that that's what's happening. I invite you to stop denying yourself. I invite you to amplify who you know yourself to be. And walk it. Don't just have it as a concept in your mind that makes you feel good for 10 seconds and then you're done. We can be it consistently, build on it, flex that muscle, get it stronger, and enjoy this freaking amazing life that you've been gifted. No matter what happens in this world. You can be that light if you're living in a 20,000 square foot mansion or in a cardboard box behind Walmart. Who cares? What's the fear? What are we so freaking afraid of? if we don't have these things that define us? We're afraid of losing our identity. We're afraid that we don't fit into a system anymore that tells us that I'm defined by what I have and who I surround myself with in accordance to what society deems successful or acceptable. The quicker you let yourself out of that prison, the quicker that you will find exactly where you're supposed to land. And it's only supposed to land because you've designed it in such a way that you have the potential to be exactly where you're supposed to be in your highest vibrational form. And you're always exactly where you're supposed to be as part of that blueprint that you've created for yourself. But there's timelines, there's threads, there's potentials that exist for you. And how you pass certain places on the Monopoly board and go straight to go. You can chutes and ladders your way through the game board of life. Play it well. Have fun with it. Do not allow the fear of sliding back down to a place where you were before prevent you from exploring life on your love's terms. Practice amplifying that light this week intentionally. Be that stable energy and nodal point first and foremost for yourself, because you can. And by amplifying the strength of that for others to receive, you get to know who you be in such a greater way. It's only when we truly exert ourselves in love's purest form that we discover what else is really possible. And the more that you discover that, the more that that uncomfortable feeling of receiving even more amplification becomes easier, because you stretch beyond what you believe and know yourself to be. You create more space, create more awareness. You embody in physical form what can seem so overwhelming to receive energetically. And you become even greater beacons, ambassadors for what's possible for others as well. You're a wave of consciousness creating in the new earth. So it's a big transmission of receptivity today, y'all. Big invitation during this time. Where's the potential for big wobbles in the field? But those wobbles, y'all, are here because they're inviting us to demonstrate what we're capable of carrying. It's a gift, not a challenge. Or maybe it is a challenge into expressing the capacity of that gift. But it's a gift, and it's demonstrating to us what we're capable of and who we are in ways that we haven't experienced before. Hmm. Drew, no, I haven't heard anything from Drew. I'm sorry, Barbara, I haven't heard anything from Drew, and we haven't spoken about him yet. Um, yes, we'll send Drew a lot of love also and a prayer for his healing. His surgery was today, so thank you for bringing that up, Barbara. Does anybody have any questions or any comments or any threads that they want to open up into? Full blown transmission, y'all. It's coming through strongly for everybody here. Anybody? No, receiving point. Can y'all feel something happening in your heart and solar plexus right now?
Mm.
What are you experiencing, Jen?
Me?
Yeah, you came on. I guess you unmuted yourself. I
Oh,
thought
my
you
bad.
said for a reason.
I mean, I feel it's almost like anxiety. Mm.
Amazing. So allow that anxiety to know that there's something that is rising in the what happens when this light quotient comes in and that unification we're called up also, there's a contraction that takes place also that allows a rising of what's discordant. Um, and is also an indication of where we're expanding in our capacity to receive and to be. So allow that anxiety to inform you as to what else is possible in your highest form. Allow the anxiety. It's just like, all right, let me relax into my anxiety. Not let me try to figure out how to get rid of this because it doesn't feel comfortable, or I don't know what to do with this, or it's anxiety, I don't know where it comes from, or even if I do know where it comes from, what else is underneath that or there? And breathe into the enormity of the anxiety, as little or as large as it may be, and allow it to create whatever wave it wants to create now. Compassion and love, and with the foundational awareness that that anxiety is not bigger than you are. Not because it's separate from you, but because you're capable of holding it, of being with it, that it's safe to go fully through your body so that it can alchemize into the light that you're capable of holding.
What did you feel?
At what part?
You said, are y'all feeling that in your heart? Are you feeling something in your hearts right now? I do. I guess contraction is, it feels much more like contraction and not anxiety, but that's what anxiety feels like to me.
There's a lot of energy that's running through this call today. I feel a lot of just like coming through, and I even feel some of the tension of it in my throat because whenever the high heart activates, also the throat expands as well. It can't help but to. So there's an attunement to more energy coming through for all of us in different ways.
Mm.
And some of us may be more sensitive to it than others. But in this group collective, there's this like ball of energy that's like doing this and it's running through. We get to breathe into it and we can receive what's right for us. If there's anything that isn't right for you, then it's a no. Only that which is in what that is in my highest alignment I receive. Only that that is truly for me and mine shall I receive. And any extra energy that isn't mine that's meant to go somewhere else may be redirected into where it's intended to be directed. Because a lot of times when we're in a group collective field, the energy starts building up and we become magnetic pillars for the energy. So to be intentional and conscious with what's coming through in a collective, whether it's a positive collective like this, or one again with the fields wobbly and confused in different ways, being aware I'm here to receive what's mine to receive. And I give back the energy so that it may go to wherever it's intended to go. That's not for me. The time of y'all moving energy for other people so that they can feel relief for an end of suffering, we have to let that go. You're not here to heal another in that way. You're here to amplify what's possible so that people can discover how that healing's happening within themselves. You can provide a beacon on how to get there. You can lead a horse to water. Can't make it drink. And I was shown this years ago where I have a capacity to lead, to guide people up to a threshold. But then it's none of my business if they choose to cross through or not. No matter how much that might hurt me, but I'm not really hurt by it because I understand now that it's not for me to do, that it's an honor to be able to hold space in witnessing someone as they choose their experience. Not just an honor that I get to choose them crossing the threshold, but it's an honor that I get to witness their choice of whether or not they choose to cross. And my heart may break sometimes because I want to play with those people in this other realm. It's my stuff. That's my stuff. How wonderful to even feel that, right? Because that is just a reflection for a light that's amplifying within me, a longing for love that I know exists that I'm still yet to discover. How beautiful. So, Lori, if you want to control all you want, I freaking love you. It's like, all right, how are we doing control? Teach me. What are you showing me that I don't know? Awesome. And I'm holding the door open because I want to play with you on this other side also. But I may not play with you in the control thing because that might not be so exciting for me. And maybe I will sometimes. I don't know. Because maybe I'm still needing to learn. I'm part of that in which you're mastering in ways that maybe I haven't. But again, I get to hold that pillar and beacon of light in my brilliance. And you can come play in my sandbox anytime you want. Joe, you have your hand raised. And I can't hear you, so maybe you want to unmute your microphone if you are speaking.
Yeah, now I'm
There you
unmuted.
are. Hello, sir.
I have never, ever had two calls in one day that almost identically mirrored each other.
I love that. Hmm.
The words are different, the message is the same.
Mhm.
I did an Akashic reading earlier today, and I had kind of a rough week a couple of weeks ago. Part of that Akashic reading was that cleared, and they go, "Oh no, that's too easy." said, you already know the answer to that, so we're not going to answer it for you.
Nice. Love that.
They said, what we're going to tell you is about what's coming up for you. And part of that not saying that's cleared for you, they said, if we cleared it for you, you would not understand the gist of the power
Mm.
that you have.
Mm.
And I
Amen to
can't go
that.
into details about what's coming up. They told me not to go into that yet because it was just today. But they said that power is part of your mission to do
Mm.
what you're going to be doing shortly. You just said the same thing, basically.
Mm. Beautiful. I
That's
I
all.
want
I just wanted to share how similar, what confirmation. And yes, I'm a little shaky, I'm a little hesitant, but the excitement of having it confirmed on the same day far overshadows all that.
That's beautiful,
I'm
man.
holding on to the excitement. Thank you.
As well, you should. What a gift to be in the excitement. Again, the emotions, what are we creating with? What do we want our tomorrow to look like? Excitement is an amazing ingredient to add into that creation. Joy, hope, vitality. I want to feel loved. I want to feel loved. I want to feel expansive. Instead of, I don't want to feel alone. I don't want to feel like I'm suffering. I don't want to feel it's like we're we're reverberating in the field a creational energy. Y'all, we're becoming amazing manifestors with our energetic expression. Just an awareness of redirecting
My,
and
yeah, my reply to that is, and when somebody out there seemingly steps on my toes in any manner of way, they're just giving me more to love myself.
beautiful. Exactly. And again, let's be conscious of our choices. Let's be conscious of the stories that we're telling because the stories aren't just about the history. The stories are also about the future creation. Be be aware. And it's just an opportunity to redirect,
Um,
not that we've been doing it wrong. It's that we're learning how to refine the story in ways that are taken into account the power of our creational output. Um, Joe, I want to reflect to you
yeah,
um, how much light I feel, how much lighter I feel you, the light that you're carrying. I see this aliveness in your eyes right now. That's really quite beautiful to witness. So thank you. And good work, man. Good job.
that's that's kind of why the glasses aren't on right now. I want everybody to see what's in my eyes.
Well, we're feeling it and it's
They're a good way
inspiring
to
me.
hide that.
Well, you can choose to hide if you want to, but I would encourage you not to. Thank you, Joe.
I don't choose to anymore. That's
I
why
don't
they're
think you
off.
do either. Yeah, that's awesome. Blessings, Joe. Thank you. Tara, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, question.
Hmm.
What would prevent us from getting to the other side?
What's the other side for you?
Well, I think the other side is the land of milk and honey.
Well, I would challenge you that your thought that there is another side is what's preventing you from it.
Ah, Oh, you keep saying the other side.
I know, I know. It's the flip side of the perception in which you're holding your consciousness,
Right.
right? So the
It's
other side, if I'm in a fear of some site of limitation, it's like, what's the other side? Or if I'm wanting prosperity in my life, but I'm fearing the limitation, I'm fearing the scarcity. The fear of the scarcity is what's preventing the other side from manifesting,
right, right.
right? And
Mhm.
sometimes we just have to go, we have to dive in. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, let me be with this fear. Let me, all right, rear your ugly head. Demonstrate yourself to me and take me to the most nefarious places that you need to take me. Your capacity to navigate your biggest fear is going to demonstrate your capacity to receive the greatest expression of what you're hoping to receive. And it is an initiation. It is not easy, but it's simple, but it's not easy because it's going to challenge. It's going to trigger all those things of safety.
But haven't we been doing that? Or we're, no.
Yeah, we've been doing it in lots of
Yeah,
ways. And there's deeper access that may be coming through. Maybe you've cleared it all. But if a fear does come up, if a contraction does come in, if something, instead of being, but I thought I've done this work, well, all right, here we go.
mhm,
And what's also happening is that as we've navigated higher states of consciousness,
mhm.
that the propensity of those things that have been kept in the shadow that can't hide anymore are going to come up
Yeah,
because they can't hide
right.
because of what you carry in your awareness. And if they can't hide, that means that maybe we have to be with the deepest, darkest fears that were so good at camouflaging themselves that they can't be avoided anymore. And if that's the case, I'm here for it. But your capacity to navigate the depth of that darkness isn't as harsh as it would have been 10, 15, 20 years ago when you hadn't gotten to know yourself in the way that you know now.
Mhm, mhm,
It probably would have killed you in a sense.
mhm. Yeah. No,
Could
it's
have
definitely.
collapsed the field, but it can't anymore. And we are in a place where we're being asked to exert our faith and trust in who we have become as individuals for ourselves. And to allow that to be the hero on the hero's journey that embraces everything on our path. So that's the other side. That's the only thing that would prevent that.
Yeah.
And it won't really prevent it, it'll delay it. But eventually we're gonna have to be with all those parts of ourselves. There's no avoiding it. You can do it in this lifetime and be done with it. Actually, for all of y'all on this call, I don't see anybody transitioning on this call and not being with those parts of yourselves. We're here to wipe the slate clean karmically.
Mm, mm.
We're doing it. You can't avoid yourself. There's some people that are transitioning during these times that are going to choose a new incarnation to go into the experience of, or several experiences of that retribution. And it's not a punishment. It's just a being with part of ourselves that we've created. And for that to know itself. And then to know itself in truth. Everything that we've created gets to be uncreated and reborn in you. All of it, even the light that we be, gets to be uncreated and reborn in you. That's exciting. And it's a hell of an adventure. And how fun that we don't have to walk it alone, but also that nobody can do it for us. Powerful. Great question. Thanks for asking.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, I appreciate asking the clarifying questions. Any other questions? A couple of announcements, y'all. For the light group, from here until December, I'm going to have our Monday calls at 12 o'clock Pacific until mid-December. In mid-December, we'll go back to the same time. I'm playing with the times to see how I can work with the flow of the things that I'm being asked to create. And for resources that I'm guided to put together that's supporting the different platforms that I'm working on. I hope that works for y'all and that y'all stay on and all that. Again, mid-December, we'll go back to the 5 o'clock calls, but beginning in the new year, around mid-January, I may consider making 12 p.m. Pacific the permanent time for the light group. Of course, we'll always have replays. Every once in a while, we'll have a 5 p.m. But again, I'm gonna play with it and navigate and see how that works out. But I wanted to let y'all know in advance as we shift through some of those, with the hopes that y'all still hang out and can show up live and knowing, of course, that you can, if you do have questions about anything that's coming up for you, that you can always type them, email them to me in advance, and we can address them, even if you can't be live, so that you can hear on the replay as well. So that was strong guidance that came in for me, and I'm hoping that that lands well for y'all. We had the trip to Egypt and we landed back in. A lot's been integrating. From that journey, I know that there's an amplification of a standard of light that we can hold, that I know that I'm capable of holding, that I am being strongly encouraged to step into. And I want to be a reflection of that for you as well. So whatever I receive in that, I come on here and I share it with you, because I know that we're in a cohesive field that we wouldn't be if we weren't able to guide each other in such ways and invite each other into the possibility of what else is awakening inside of us. Hold the standard for your life and for what you're choosing to create that really sets a high bar for what's possible for you. For what you're willing to receive and create with, or how you're willing to be treated and treat others, or how you're willing to see others and see yourself. Hold a high standard for your self-talk. Hold a high standard for how you speak of others. Be aware of the standards of your creation and why you're creating, what you're choosing to create. The ripple effects of your actions have great meaning. Lead with your heart, lead with love, lead with discernment, lead with the intention of creating unity consciousness. First, within yourself. How are you separating aspects of you? And how is that creating suffering in your own consciousness? And where can you invite the unification of who you are being and hold that pillar of light so that unity consciousness becomes an example, a house for others to be aware of what's possible and holding the standards in which you deserve and we all deserve to live these human lives in a dignified, exalted manner. I love you guys and I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. I see you. So happy to be with you. And I'm excited for all of us. See y'all next Monday.
Love and blessings.
Love and blessings. Bye, y'all.
Thanks, Donna. Good night.
Good night. Good night, Carlotta.
Good night,
night.
everybody.
Good night, Donna. Good night,
everyone.
Tara.
Thank you.
Good night, Jenny.
Good
Good night,
night,
Debbie. Good
all.
night, Lori.
Good night.
Good night, Kimra. Good night, everybody listening on the replay, or good morning, depending where you are.
And blessings to Drew tomorrow.
Yes, blessings to Drew. Thank you.
Is it
Yes,
his
yes.
surgery is
Yes,
tomorrow?
blessings to
Yes,
Drew.
the 5th.
It's
Thank you,
tomorrow.
Donna.
Okay. Thank you for that, Donna. Yes, he'll be in our prayers. I invite you all to hold them in this light as well.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Bye, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Oh.